don't remember the man I used to be. I'm not even sure who I am now. Was I always this desperate? This stubborn? Was it just always hidden in the shadows? Prosperity and happiness and family. Always there. But now here and now in my every moment. And then I wake up and I'm in this sterile, cold place. This one or the last one or the next one we'll go to. There's always a new waiting room, a new uncomfortable place to sleep, a new fight to get the treatment that she needs. That's my real nightmare. It's the time that I'm awake. But in those dreams, it's still beautiful. And she's still beautiful. You have no idea how much I need you. Or maybe you do. Maybe you've always known I need you. You can't leave me. We've got to find a way. There has to be a way. You are strong. I'm trying to be strong. But I cannot lose you. Do you understand? I can't lose you.
His name was David. He wore the same khakis and off-white dress shirt the whole time I knew him.
His loafers were fine in the time, but now worn to the soul.
His belt, made of fine alligator skin, had been drawn up to the newest made hole.
He sported a light tone on his wrist, where his timepiece had been.
His once fit, tailored body now was largely unkempt. His hair grayed, thinned, and graying daily.
He wore a nervousness that jolted in sporadic motion while turning his wedding band round and around.
I first noticed David late one night.
Much to his embarrassment, I inadvertently walked upon him while he was picking through the discarded food tray card.
At first sight, I thought David was a homeless man who'd snuck into the hospital to find shelter from the cold while pillaging around for much-needed food.
His embarrassment quickly faded as the necessity demanded continuing.
Although worried about his hygiene and the adverse effect to those on this floor of the weak and contractive, I turned the other cheek and cautiously walked on.
In the early morning, I silently moved through the waiting room toward the coffee pot. I again came into contact with David.
He was on the short couch, resting uncomfortably in the fetal position. I admit to my shame that the scene had worn thin on me.
I did little to be quiet in anticipation of wakening this vagrant.
Turning on my heels, David was standing full face to me. He held out his hand and introduced himself. David and I sat in the early morning hours drinking endless cups of coffee. His story plagues me to this very minute.
His wife has a condition that is incurable. Her life support is a shot that is needed every 3 days in order to see the next.
David was very upset and disgusted. At intervals, then, as if a switch had been moved, became humbled, while falling into a deep contemplation.
I learned that David and his wife were very successful in business.
They had 2 children with family of their own. He spoke of his kids and their children with a sparkle and a tear, as though they were departed or long gone.
David had used all his insurance, cashed in his retirement and savings, sold the house, the cabin, all his possessions of value.
Now he traveled state to state, landing where he could, to find the next charitable shot for his wife's life.
When I asked him how his children dealt with it, he became combative, almost violent. Calming him with the assurance that I meant no harm, he dropped his forehead into his open, stained hands and cried.
He apologized in a sobbing tone, telling me he had to hide from his children. This cancer, this fight, had nearly bankrupted his kids as well.
He chose to run and protect his children from the sin of his conceived betrayals.
In my life, I have seen and heard of injustice to the point near implosion, but nothing has disgusted me as much as David's story.
According to David, his wife's life-sustaining shot was an injection that had been on the market in full circulation since the 50s.
It was one of routine shots given to pregnant women to help fight birth defects.
The cost of this shot was $250 in that environment.
But it had been recalled when it was discovered to be a life-sustaining medicine for this particular cancer. The drug was now re-engineered to revive a long-expired patent. The same shot, with non-essential additives, now costs $3,200 per injection.
Sorry if I offend anyone, but the money hunger of the pharmaceuticals and their shareholders, who obviously have no idea of the company's policy and protocol, are sickening to me. Where is the human mercy in this?
David's hometown doctor contacted every colleague that he could to collect the drug before recall. The supply lasted 1 year. David was now calming me down.
David explained to me that more than one time, from numerous doctors in a number of states, that his wife's condition was helpless.
Although there is new treatment in the future, her condition was far too gone to sprout hope.
We both cried as he asked if I thought he was doing the right thing. For the first time in my life, I was speechless.
His maimed vocals truly believed she had a chance. She tried to convince him to let her go, but she always let him decide.
They both disappeared after just 4 short, grueling days. I tried to find out what happened to them, but all lips were sealed?
They were in that room for 4 days, and no record was kept. I began to question my sanity.
I was assured by one of the nurses that they were okay. I visited the chapel on the first floor and sat in a pew and stared beyond the cross and the stained glass.
I I felt this phrase spoken clearly and direct. Here, not all things are spoken or documented. There's no right or wrong. There's God, love, and souls are never turned away. On floor 14.
Say something like you love me and make my day, like you always do, like you always do. Hold my hand and look me in the eye so I can tell you how I feel, tell you how I feel. Every day something new. If I spend it with you, with you, with you. Oh, I want you right now, and I need you right now, you right now. My world is spinning round, round, around. Oh, I want you now, now, now. My world is spinning round, round, round. And I want you now, and I want you now, and I want you now. How you move and what you do,